Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the introduction to LifeWave and X39, the star of our show. My name is Robin Blank Mascari. I am your host this evening, and we get together every Tuesday to do an overview, a summary of this very special company. We talk about the company, its history, our very special founder and inventor, David Schmidt, and then we bring on a special guest. We have a doctor this evening, Dr. Barbara Jennings is with us tonight. And then we open things up for you. We love to hear your stories, and there will be some time for questions. So please use the chat and let me know if you have a story or a question. And you can write your questions in. If you have a testimonial, please let me know. And just a little overview here that we are not here to treat, diagnose, or cure anything. We talk symptoms only, and we thank each and every one of you for being compliant with that. So let's jump in and start out with a little bit about this special. Well, let me start out with how I got introduced, because I was researching stem cell injections for a sore knee. And a friend called and said, there's a new technology that activates your own stem cells with light. And I went, how fast can I get it? And I became a customer, put the patch, which is a very simple little, looks like a round Band-Aid, on the top of my spine. And a week later, the pain in my knee went away. I was going, what is going on here? So we're going to talk about what is going on here tonight. And I started sharing, and the rest is history. So I'm thrilled to be here with everyone and share about this company that's absolutely changed my life in so many ways and brought together this really beautiful community. So LifeWave is actually 16 years old. The technology was created on a government contract when David was asked to create something for the Navy SEALs for their survival on how to stay awake in their mini submarines without using any caffeine or stimulants. And he was very successful in this technology, and then the priorities of the government changed, and had this amazing product called the Energy Enhancer. And he chose to use network marketing as the vehicle for distribution because it requires a voice, it requires our stories. That's why our stories are so important. And launched the company in 2004. The product was discovered by athletes when he got a call one day from Richard Quick, the women's Olympic swim coach, and said that 6 of my 8 swimmers did their personal best the very first time they used the technology. And then things took off like a rocket, and it was very exciting. And athletes all over the world started using the patches. And then he created a few other things because he noticed there were some mild pain relief benefits from that patch, and the Ice Wave was born. And then after that, in this first phase of the company, more of the symptom-based patches became Silent Night, which helps people increase their melatonin. And the hospitals in Europe, many of them were using that instead of sleeping medications. So phase 2 of the company, David is an inventor, and he kept at it in the lab and he shifted into the anti-aging phase of the company, and the Eon, glutathione, and carnosine patches were born. And then about 10 plus years ago, David started his journey into regenerative science. And in 2019, David launched what he considered at the time the greatest accomplishment of his career to date, which was the X39. It's a patch that activates our own younger stem cells and the copper peptide called GHK-Cu. Look it up, do your research. It's one of the most amazing things that have ever existed because it actually is called the Holy Grail of health, healing, and regeneration. So it does many, many things, but we love that it activates stem cells. And so the company took off, and as a 15-year-old company, it tripled in sales from 2018 to 2019, and then 2.5 times again from 2019 to 2020. The company has 14 distribution centers, serves countries all over the world, over 75 of them. And we are thrilled that we get to share the great news of this technology with with our friends, with our family, and with the world. So David, a little bit about David. He's like I said, he likes to call himself an inventor first and foremost. He's got over 100 patents and patent pendings to his name, and he's always busy in the lab creating what's next. He gave us a little taste of his vision for the future of being the leader in health technologies. And there's a clue there, health technologies. And so there's many interesting things to come in the future. We're thrilled that we have this particular technology right now and many more to come. The company puts a lot of money into research. David loves to, do the clinical trials. They invest millions of dollars and currently have over 100 clinicals on the products and technology. So then we want to talk about X39, but before I jump into that, I want to introduce our guest this evening, Dr. Barbara Jennings. She is a functional medicine chiropractor out of Fort Collins, Colorado, a mother of 7, a NIA instructor, was a classical pianist, and she got into this because she had some pretty severe autoimmune issues herself, thyroid and autoimmune, I believe. Let me see if I get this right. And she got to the point where she wanted to help a lot of other people. So we're going to tap into her expertise a little bit. And it is always my pleasure to welcome Dr. Barbara Jennings on this evening. So Dr. Barbara, show us that gorgeous face. There she is.
Hello.
I love being with
Good
you.
evening.
Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Well, I want to tap into some of your wisdom tonight too, because I think we've been missing out on, because each one of our doctors has, their own specialty. And do you do telemedicine conferences for people, conference calls with people?
Yes, all the time.
Okay, great. So, our participants and our viewers would, when they hear about that kind of specialty in thyroid and autoimmune, that could be very helpful. So let's jump in. I got to get this cord out of the way. That's really distracting. Sorry about that, guys. As a doctor, a chiropractor, what is it that drew you to be interested to really explore this technology for yourself and for your practice?
What interested me, in healthcare, and especially more natural-oriented healthcare, stem cells have been a buzzword for a few years, several years. And some of my colleagues and friends are doing what they call regenerative medicine or therapy, right? Which is the stem cell injections. And that's just not something I was ever interested in bringing into my practice and doing all the things that you have to do for that. But when my friend Michelle told me about this patch she had that activated the GHK copper peptide, which then activates stem cell production, it really got my attention. And so I tried it, and within 5 days, I felt noticeably better. And I'm a person who has access to the best nutrition supplements in the world, and I walk the talk because I have a history of an autoimmune condition, and I was in a life-threatening situation with that illness. I never want to go back there, and so I'm very careful about practicing what I preach. And so I just feel like if the X39 and increasing both the copper peptide and the stem cells for me, and at the time how old was I? I had just turned 50. So if it could make me noticeably have more energy in a really good way, without the jitters of a stimulant, and help me sleep better and increase my sense of well-being, then I thought, well, I have a few patients I'd like to mention this to. So I, kind of handpicked some patients that know me really well and trust me, and I thought would really benefit from this. And, lo and behold, in just a matter of days, days to a couple of weeks, they had really impressive, like amazing benefits. And then I saw the potential for these patches to activate healing in the body that I can't provide as a doctor. You know, I can do a lot for people, but I can't do that. You know, I can't take inflammation and chronic pain in a shoulder that's been there for decades and decrease it as dramatically as the patch did in 46 hours, 48 hours.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
yeah, so that's when I decided I'm interested.
I love it. And we do hear that from a lot of our doctors and practitioners, that the patches enhance the clinical outcome you have with your patients and clients, which is very exciting. And sometimes, you know, Dr. Tom was saying, you know, he'd been dealing with someone with a chronic situation for a very long time, and he was in awe of how quickly it accelerated the journey for them onto feeling a lot better. Well, we're talking stem cells here, and some people know what they are, some people don't. So could you briefly share what they are and why are they so important in our health and well-being?
Absolutely. So stem cells are the are the cells from which all other cells stem, right? So they're like the seed, and they can then grow into or become or differentiate into almost any other type of, or any other cell, any other tissue. And so what I love about, you know, my perspective of being a healer from a natural, in natural ways, is that when you give the body the ability to heal and repair itself, it does, and it does so beautifully. And so a stem cell could become bone, it could become skin, it could become brain, it could become really any body part that you need to repair and regenerate.
Beautiful. And what happens as we age to the number of stem cells we have in our body?
Oh, well, it's pretty much downhill from birth, isn't it? You're born with about as many as you'll ever have. So yeah, they just, we use them up, right? We use them up and we make fewer and fewer of them as time goes on. And so by age 60, we have estimated between 10 and 15% left. Or what we used to have. And you know, that's really when we need them the most, isn't it? Well, when you're aging and you have all this wear and tear from living in your body for 60 years or 70 years, and your body just loses the ability to keep up and repair and regenerate itself every night. So
It's to me, it came just in the nick of time. I'm about to be 67, and I am thrilled because I keep feeling better and better and stronger and more flexible than I have felt in years. And so, you know, not only did my knee get better, but lots of other things, and it's cumulative over time. Instead of the older we get, the faster we age, the slower we heal, we can actually change that. So let's talk about this special technology. We have this thing, looks like this, looks like a Band-Aid, very simple, and it uses a technology called photobiomodulation. And I know a lot of people would love to know, how does this work? If nothing is going in the body, how does it work?
Yeah, I love how this works.
Me too.
Complete stroke of genius for David to have this idea to harness the healing ability of light and light frequency. So the technology, the patch contains reflective crystals and nanotechnology, and it is activated by our body heat, which is infrared light. Right, so our body, our infrared light hits the patch and the crystals reflect it back into our skin. The nanotechnology alters or changes the frequency that is reflected back into a known frequency that is shown to cause a desirable effect. And David has identified several different specific frequencies that perform beautifully. And another thing, that's my dog. He wants to get out. Another thing is that light, human beings are very sensitive to light. Excuse me, he's just going to keep barking. All right, he heard something good upstairs. Okay, so photobiomodulation is really just a descriptive word. It's photo meaning light, bio meaning our biology, and modulation meaning change. So it's the ability of light to have a physiological change on our bodies. So when you go out in the sun, if you go out in the sun in Ecuador, right, on the equator, it's going to affect you, right? It is going to give you a suntan. It is going to cause your body to make vitamin D. And this works for everyone. So it really is using light frequency, this patch, to stimulate our body's production of the GHK copper peptide.
Beautiful.
And when that increases, that in turn stimulates our body's natural stem cell production.
Love it. This is truly a historic breakthrough. I mean, and
Absolutely.
to make it affordable for the average person is so exciting. So I know the X39 patch, by activating this copper peptide, activates stem cells, your own younger ones. What are some of the other things that it does? Because it doesn't do just that. I remember when that first event happened, January 19th, 2019, and we got a message from Austria where the launch was happening, and they talked about this copper peptide. It does a lot of things. What else can people expect?
The copper peptide?
Well, that from using the X39 patch,
the
activating the
X39,
copper
right.
peptide.
Well, the copper peptide in and of itself is worth using the patch alone, right? Stem cells aside, if all it did was increase our copper peptide, I'd still use it. I would still recommend it because it positively affects over 4,100 genes, right? So it is involved in our DNA, our gene expression, to help optimize healthy genes, meaning healthy genes to be expressed and unhealthy genes to be turned off. So, even if you stop there, that's pretty awesome. But it's also so good for your hair, skin, and nails. It's often found in very high-end, expensive skincare, anti-aging skincare, but as we all know, it's always better from the inside out if we can make it inside. But having more stem cells available in your body really allows your body to go to work. And I truly believe our bodies are the best doctor. They know how to prioritize. They know how to repair whatever it needs to repair. So giving your body these building blocks of stem cells, excuse me, allows it to do just that, prioritized. Where is the inflammation, right? It's going to be drawn to areas of inflammation. So it can repair the damage done there. Some other effects that we hear probably the most often is if a person has pain, more often than not, that pain is going to be reduced significantly, either a little bit, significantly, or completely. Most people have more energy, noticeably, sometimes on day one, sometimes not for 8 weeks. But what we know is it's working. A lot of people will ask me, how soon am I going to feel something? And, my answer is, I don't know. What I do know is it's going to be working. What I don't know is if your body's going to use it on something that will be noticeable to you first, or second, or third, or fourth, or 10th, or 20th. So
That's beautiful. It's
yes.
always working. So how do people use this technology?
How do we use it?
Yeah.
We
What do you
wear
do
it
with this?
like,
What do you do with it?
we wear it on our skin like a Band-Aid. And there are, it will work just about anywhere on your skin, but a couple preferable points are on some specific acupuncture points. You don't have to be exact for it to work. So we use it for 12 hours. You want it 12 hours on your body and then give your body a rest. And that's because while it's on, it's constantly reflecting light back in and stimulating your skin. And just like your ears, your brain, it doesn't like to hear the same thing over and over and over. It needs a break. It'll start to tune out something repetitive. Your body will start to ignore, it will adapt to that light frequency, and the patches may become less effective. So it's important to have approximately equal time wearing the patch on your skin and having it off.
Okay, so 12 hours on, 12 hours off. You may notice it. It may take some time, but we know it's always working, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can some people notice something that is less than pleasant?
Oh, you can. You can.
What does that mean?
It's not the majority. So some people, and I've seen a few of these things happen, not very many, but a few. So the most common, maybe negative, is someone who may feel more tired, right? And to me, and all the things I understand, that totally makes sense to me, because when you have more copper peptide and more stem cells, your body's going to go to work healing and repairing. And that takes energy. It takes energy on those cells internally. So you may feel less energy outwardly. And then for those people, I just say, stick with it. You know, if it's really severe, take the patch off. You don't have to wear it 12 hours in a row. You can wear it 1 hour a day. The patch is good for a total of 12 hours, right? So if someone may experience possibly an increase of pain, then that tells me also it's working. It doesn't mean bad things are happening. It means your body's going to work on that area. And if it's unpleasant, take it off. Take it off, give your body a rest, save the patch until it's been used for a total of 12 hours.
Okay, well, let's jump in and get some participation here. We have a hand up. Hank, if it's a question, please type it out. If it's a testimonial, please let me know in the chat. And we've got a few questions here. So remember, we don't talk disease states, only symptoms. And so we do have if a person has an autoimmune system problem and their doctor puts them on an immune suppressor med, will that inhibit X39 from acting on the autoimmune issue?
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so the question is, if they're on immunosuppressive drugs, will the X39 stop the drugs from working?
It said, will that inhibit X39 from acting on the autoimmune issue?
Oh, okay. Well, there are 3 contraindications for X39. One is if someone's undergoing chemotherapy, you wait until that's finished. 2 is pregnancy, because these have not been tested on pregnant women. Almost nothing is ever tested on pregnant women, so those women need to make their own decision. And 3 is a person on immunosuppressive drugs. From what I understand, it's for the purpose of having been an organ transplant recipient, not necessarily for an autoimmune condition. So the wonderful thing about having more stem cells is that they work with the wisdom of your body. And our bodies really are wise. It makes good choices almost all the time. Autoimmune conditions don't pop up out of nowhere. It's your immune system finding a reason to attack whatever tissue it's attacking. And stem cells, having more stem cells is not going to make that worse. It actually, I believe, can help calm the inflammation and repair the body. So would the drugs prevent it or inhibit it from working? No.
Okay. We've heard of a lot of people with that kind of challenge that are getting tremendous benefits from X39. So
Yes.
there we go. Now Hank has his hand up. So if this is a testimonial, Hank, please share that with us. Remember, no mentioning, you got to unmute. Okay, there you go, Hank. No mentioning of disease states, just symptoms. Hank, you're on.
Can you hear me?
You don't sound like Hank.
No, it's short for Henrietta.
Hello, Henrietta.
Yeah. Okay, can the patch be used more than 12 hours?
It can, but it starts to wear out. You know, my understanding that it will just get weaker and wear out. So what people do is after 12 hours on themselves, they'll take it off and maybe put it on a pet who needs some help, some love, or even a child who has a smaller body. So, you know, it might still have some juice left in it, but I think it does just wear out over time. So
Okay.
it's been shown to be effective at a certain level for 12 hours.
Okay,
Great.
that was my question.
Okay, so thank you. What I'd like is if you have a testimonial and want to share a story, that's when you raise your hand. If you have a question, please write it in your chat. So there's a few hands up, and thank you very much. So I imagine Tina has a story to share. So Tina, and unmute your line, please.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Actually, it was a question. I have many stories to tell about the X39 in a few months.
Why don't you share a story, please? Because there's other people that had questions first. So why don't you share your story, and we'll come back to you later if we have time for a question.
That would be awesome, because it is urgent. Someone received an organ transplant several years ago. Wouldn't that organ tissue now be part of them? Do you think that they could explore the X39 now? Do you have any idea about that?
I think that person needs to make their own choice.
Okay.
What we know about having more stem cells is that it's good for your immune system, right? It improves it, it helps it be stronger, and that's the reason. I have heard of a man on one of these calls. I don't know if it was a Tuesday night call, but a man who had received a kidney, and he was still using X39 and said he would never stop using X39. So it's not tested, and it's not recommended because for those reasons. But that person, I think, would just need to make their own decision on that.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
You know, we clearly say if someone has had an organ transplant and they are on immune suppressing meds, they don't want their organ to be rejected. So you don't want to, you know, enhance the immune system. So Kay would like to know if there's a protocol for poor circulation to the legs caused by fluctuating blood sugar levels.
So poor circulation to the leg caused by blood sugar. Well, there's a lot of things that you can do for a condition like that. You So one thing I would do, I really love the SP6 patch. It works so well for sugar cravings and food cravings. Also, other hormone balance. So I actually recommend that for a lot of different circumstances and symptoms. I would absolutely, if nothing else, you want to wear the X39. Having more stem cells to to address the inflammation in the legs. That's going to be caused by a breakdown in blood vessels and capillaries, and that those tissues and nerves become starved for blood and oxygen and nutrients. So having stem cells to help repair some of that tissue would be number one.
Great, thank you. Vangali asked, what's the best combination of patches? I think we have some
I just
additional.
want to add, I would also use the glutathione patch to decrease inflammation systemically, and the Eon patch. So I would use all of those.
What do you think about energy enhancer on kidney 1 to increase
I
the
love it.
circulation?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of the beauty is you could use the patches. There's so many that you could use that would accomplish a lot of wonderful benefits. So
Energy enhancer, even Ice Wave, because these patches improve the tissue, right? Normalizing tissue response and communication.
great.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. We have a question that says, what's the best combination of patches for pain throughout the body?
Say that again.
The best combination of patches for pain throughout the body.
Okay. X39, and you can wear it on either one of the normal points that you would wear it. And the other thing that I would try is Ice Wave on kidney 1, right? You can just test it by putting them on the floor and standing on them. I've seen people's pain.
Great idea.
I just helped a lady over the phone do this a couple days ago in a different state. I just said, all right, put them down. And, on kidney 1, left foot brown, right foot white, just step on them and see if it helps. And lo and behold, within, 10, 20 seconds, it helped.
That's a great idea. I'm loving that.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, it helped with lower foot pain and upper hip pain. I would add the Eon patch also.
Mm-hmm. Great. And kidney 1, you can look that up online. It's a very, very powerful meridian, and it's kind of where the curve from your big toe comes together with the curve from your other toes. This is kind of the way I explain it, but look online, you'll get to see that. And let's see.
It's on the toe side of end of the main arch of the foot.
Okay. So let's see. Doug is asking, I have a few people that are dealing with anxiety and varying degrees of depression. Those are symptoms, specifically a few 15 to 25-year-old group. What patches would you suggest to support them, to support the daily use of X39?
Mm-hmm. Well, just in the last month or two, I've had a lot of success using Eon especially for anxiety on different parts. And the source or the trigger for anxiety can guide you to where it may be the most effective, right? If it's a person who worries themselves into anxiety, you can put it right here, or crown of the head, or top of the neck. This tends to work really well, or right here, over the vagus nerve, right behind your earlobe. So I would use that. For feeling depressed, you would want to look at, and this is in addition to X39, the Nirvana patch.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, the Eon does a beautiful job. If people feel stressed or anxious, it's a great thing to wear at night to help you sleep too. Might want to try
Mhm.
that. Okay, we're kind of out of time, but I can't help. Carolyn from Australia has her hand up, so I'm assuming she's got a story to share. So Carolyn, you want to share your story? It must be morning time over there, huh?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, and briefly, because we're kind of out of time, but we'd love to hear your story.
Very briefly, I was on the phone to a group that are in Kenya who are in my group, and this lady came on and she said, I am in agony. I can't stand up. My feet hurt so much. And I knew that they didn't have Ice Wave there. And I said, have you got any Eon? She said, yes, I have. I said, try an Eon on kidney 1 on both feet. And she wrote to me the next day and said, I woke up completely pain-free. My feet don't hurt anymore at all. So I was so happy for her because I wasn't sure how it would work, but she was thrilled. She said, that's it, I'm really in now. So that's all. Just a happy story. Have a happy camper.
Yeah, that's a powerful place for pain, is on the feet.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you so much, and thanks for being with us. We love that the timing works for you, Carolyn, that you get to be
It's
with us.
wonderful. It's lunchtime. It's always lunchtime. So I always have my lunch while I'm listening to this. So
Oh, well,
it's
how
great.
lovely is that? How lovely
Yeah.
is that? So I'm noticing our time, and I want to thank everyone. And in the future, please raise your hand if you have a story to share, and write in the chat if you have a question. And we'll keep things nice and organized because we want to hear your stories. We want to hear them. It's kind of a little more difficult to write them, and we want to see your questions. So we want to thank each and every one of you. A very special thank you to Dr. Barbara for sharing your wisdom with us on these calls. I love learning from you. And next time we're going to talk a little bit more about some of your specialties and how you've used the patches in your practice to help with those things that you're a specialist on, because we want to tap into this wisdom that you have. And everyone,
Sure.
thanks for being here. If you're a guest this evening and this is you're brand new to LifeWave and just exploring the possibilities here, please get back to the person who invited you. We have wonderful customer programs, and we also have a wonderful, if you like to share, we have a very lucrative opportunity to compensate you for sharing the good news. I started as a customer. I really felt this sense of responsibility to share this technology and start building a business, and it's been the greatest thing that's ever happened in a business for me. So thank you all for being with us this evening. Appreciate each and every one of you. So we'll say good night. Thank you.
All right.